What's going on, everybody? Applersky here, back with another new video. And this one is a little bit different. It's a little bit controversial, and I want to do it in the most respectful way possible because I do love Sony. I am a PlayStation first gamer, but I feel like I had to have my voice heard about what we've been hearing lately, and it's with their strategy on remastering games. Now, first of all, the two games I'm specifically going to be talking about here are still in the rumor phase. Nothing's been official, but Horizon Zero Dawn is pretty much a lock, and we might even see it at this state of play. So, with that said, let's go ahead and get into it. So it's been heavily rumored the last, I don't know, week maybe, that Horizon Zero Dawn is getting a remaster. And then a few days later, we hear that another remaster is happening as well, and it's rumored to be Days Gone. I'm so perplexed at these decisions for remastering games that absolutely do not need them, when there's so many other IP out there that are basically, it seems like Sony's just forgotten about them. And what's weird is that those previous games, some of them trilogies, were created by companies that are still in their umbrella of IP. So it's just really boggling my mind and upsetting me because there's so much other stuff out there that deserves to be not only remastered but just blatantly like accessible to PS5. And I'm sure without even speaking of it, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But I guess I'm a little bit late to this topic, but what I wanted to do was go back and kind of play, because it's been so long since I played either game. I wanted to play a few hours of them to see if there's anything I could think of that they haven't already upgraded, right? So if you remember, Zero Dawn came out in 2017. All right. At the time, it was one of the most incredible looking games on consoles, period. And even now, this footage is captured on PS5. Does it look like a game that needs a remaster? I'll wait. Yeah, the answer is no. So I played a few hours of this, and the only things I could think of were a constant 60, which I believe it already is running at pretty much a constant 60, and maybe like native 4K, and that's it. And those can be done with a simple patch. And now, I don't know, like I said, it's still a rumor, so we don't know what to expect if they're gonna like add things to it, new modes, but they're not gonna do a DLC. They already have a sequel. They're not gonna add, gameplay features that were introduced in the second one to this, because all of those mainly were new items that she gets, and they're story driven. So I just can't see what they could possibly justify a remaster for this game. Like, it's only 7 years old. It still looks better than some modern games, and it plays great. I mean, it's not dated. The controls aren't outdated. The presentation's definitely not outdated. It's a phenomenal. It's a masterpiece. It really is. So I don't know, but anyway, going back to the gameplay, like I literally was banging my head trying to think, okay, well they could add this and they could add that, but no, they can't really. So if you guys have any like things in mind that you could think they could improve on to justify a remaster, let me know in the comments, because I've platinumed this game. I've played it multiple times. I just really can't see, unless they go back and redo all the facial animations. And if you look at this and Forbidden West side by side, they really don't look that much different. Maybe if you put this side by side with the PS4 version of Forbidden West, maybe, but this was such a beautiful game at the time it came out. They didn't really need to do a whole lot in the graphical department in the sequel, and they did. Plus, we're getting Lego Horizon. I mean, I know Horizon is a very big IP for them, and it's gonna get a third one. We already know for sure. It's getting, I believe, some sort of show or movie, but it's one of their most beloved IPs now. But I wanted to use The Last of Us Part 1 remake as kind of an example, and a lot of people were kind of upset about this. It was 9 years since the remastered, which you're seeing on the left here, and in this clip. But they completely remade this thing using the modernized engine of The Last of Us Part 2, and a lot of people were kind of upset that the gameplay features didn't carry over, like the prone mechanics and the dodging. But I mean, it kind of makes sense. Like, that was an evolution of the series, and it differentiated Ellie's gameplay from Joel's, right? Plus, if they were to add, I could see them easily adding the dodge mechanic in there, but it would have been very hard for them to implement prone, because the levels and the world design was built for prone in part 2. They would have had to redone the majority of the levels to make prone even really worth it, right? Like crawling under cars and all that stuff. So I bought it because I love the series, and I also, what they were trying to do, I really respect. They were trying to, like, because of the success of the TV show, that brought, I mean, you could just look at the sales and playtime during the time of that show. It spiked pretty high, and they wanted to align the part 1 to make it more in line with the looks and tone of visual tone of part 2. So I respect that. It does kind of suck that it was full priced. I feel like it should have been like a discount if you owned the remastered or whatever. But I mean, if you love the series as much as I do, you probably bought it, and to me it was worth it. I was finally able to get the platinum because the multiplayer wasn't in it, and it was just, I mean, it felt like I was playing a new game, really. Like, it's gorgeous, and that's, to me, a proper way of doing a remake. The game was almost 10 years old, and the remaster of 2, I feel, was also necessary. It added the no return mode alone was worth the $10 upgrade fee or whatever it was. It had the lost levels. It had different outfits. I think it deserved that remaster as well. Now, going into some of their other remasters, modern. I mean, I don't even think there is. I might be blanking on some, but Horizon Zero Dawn and Days Gone were both given upgrades. Now they're not natively running on PS5, but they both run at 60 FPS. The load times were very decreased, and they both run amazingly well. Like, I played Days Gone when it launched on a PS4 Pro, and it still struggled. Like, if you were on the motorcycle, it struggled. Now, what about these? Where are these? This is what I was talking about earlier. Like, we've been pounding the table for, I mean, I put Siphon Filter in there because that's one of my personal favorites, and that deserves a full-on remake, whether it be a reboot or a remake of the original trilogy or whatever. But, like, Infamous, Killzone, Resistance, among many others, Sly Cooper, Jack and Daxter, MGS4, I mean, the list goes on and on of games that have just been abandoned, and unless you have a PS3 or 4, you can't play these games, right? Like, I guess Resistance 3 is on PS5, but why would you do the third? And there's the streaming Infamous. Like, no, like, we need full on remasters of all of these titles, and a remake of Siphon Filter as well as the other ones I spoke of before remastering titles that felt like they came out last week. You know, I'm an older gamer, so like those games are still fresh and new in my mind. But like these titles here, we're getting so far along now where they've been absent that we have a whole new generation of gamers and maybe never even heard of these games. And the other thing is that, you know, all four of these on screen, PlayStation still owns the studios. Like Siphon Filter, Bend Studio, which whatever they're working on is probably going to be awful because I heard it's live service. And if it's a live service Siphon Filter, I'm going to be pissed. You know, Gorilla with Killzone, right? Sucker Punch with Infamous, who's making Ghost of Tsushima 2 eventually. Resistance with, you know, Insomniac, who seems to be in a 20-year contract with Marvel, but that's neither here nor there. Either way, like those studios that made those games are still under the umbrella. Why aren't those getting any attention? At the very least, remastering them or even just making them available on PS5, I would prefer over these two rumored remasters. Now, here we are with Days Gone. Like I said, I played this on release on the PS4 Pro, and it still struggled. Not as much as did on the base PS4, but every time you're on the motorcycle, frame drops, like guaranteed. It wasn't bad enough to where I couldn't get through the game, but now on PS5 it is superb. Like, it runs. I mean, you can say what you will about the story and everything, like the length, whatever, but the graphics look great. It performance wise, it runs perfect. I don't see any issue with it. And this is even newer. This game came out in 2019. It's only 5 years old. I just don't understand. It's a waste of time and money and assets when the fans really want some of these older, forgotten, stuck on PS3 and even PS2 and older. You know, we need those back as PlayStation fans. And to be quite honest, like, it might not even be true. Days Gone might not be true. I'm pretty sure Horizon is for sure. But the other rumored one would make me even more furious, and that's God of War, the first one. If it's that, I'm going to be more upset than if it's Days Gone, because there's nothing you could do to that game to make it better. Like, there's literally nothing. Now, if they were to do native PS5 upgrades with, you know, a $5 to $10, you know, upgrade fee, okay, but, you know, I don't see them doing that. I actually see them re-releasing them at full price or maybe a little below, which, if that's the case, I don't think those are going to sell well. And I just don't understand. The point of this video really is to just kind of put my frustrations out there as to what PlayStation's been doing the last year or so. I really don't agree with some of their strategies. And again, like I said in the beginning, you know, PlayStation, I'm a PlayStation guy, have been ever since 96. I'm 38 now. I have all the consoles hooked up. You know what I mean? Like, and I have physical copies of Resistance, Killzone, Infamous, you know, but I don't want to, like, to play, like, yeah, I do go back and play those from time to time, but like I said earlier, they need to be accessible and up to par performance-wise so that new generations can discover them, right? Like, that's my main thing, right? Like, my daughter is a gamer, and, you know, she's only 5 now, so I wouldn't let her play most of these games, but, you know, when she's 10, or so years old or whatever, like she's gonna want to like play these older series, you know, and it it's just kind of sad, like these wonderful series that earned PlayStation so much money are just afterthoughts. You know, we got, and it's weird, right? Like, let's talk Siphon Filter, for example. I talk about that one a lot because it's one of my favorite PlayStation franchises that has ever been made. It is not playable, really. Like, even though I'm glad that they put all three of the PS1 trilogy on PlayStation Plus, but they're very hard to play. The controls, everything, and even the two that were on PSP, those still look okay, but they're old, and the control schemes, like, that needs to be completely remade with a modern stealth system and a modern control scheme. And I know Bend has love for it because they put Siphon Filter motorcycle skins in this game in Days Gone. And they put them every single title except Omega Strain, which is PS2, which I didn't really care for because that was like a create your own character thing, and it was cool. The updated graphics and stuff at the time were cool, but that one can just be left alone. But they have all of the main titles on PlayStation Plus, so they apparently care about it. They're trying to get an audience, but it seems like a modern day version for right now, I don't know, is off the table unless Bend is working on it, and we just don't know. But I mean, either way, that's just an example. I think it would be far less of time and money to remaster the unplayable games. You know, even like Sly Cooper and Jack and Daxter, which are playable, but they're not. They're just ports of the PS2 versions. So, you know, those also deserve to be brought back as well. So anyway, that's my rant for the day. Let me know what you guys think. Are you upset as I am at their strategy? Are you even interested in remasters of these two titles? Are you like more on the same page with me, going back and bringing some of the forgotten franchises back? So, you know, leave a like, leave a comment, please. And if you like what I'm doing here, consider subscribing, because, you know, everything helps me out here. I'm doing this all alone. So, and I will touch on more topics like this as the time goes by. This is kind of just wetting my feet in the more controversial areas. You know, I don't want to like hate on PlayStation, because I do love and respect them. But at the end of the day, something's got to change in their strategy. They know it. They hear the noise. They see the comments. And I just don't understand why they're not catering to the fans more. Either way, that's my 2 cents. And thank you guys for watching. And I'll catch you guys all on the next video. Thanks.